Hey, Tech Lead here. I thought I would do a quick vlog today about why I don't dual boot Linux. I use Linux, but I've never actually used it the way you guys think you're using it. Like, I'm not even sure if this is something that professionals do, where they get Linux with the graphical UI interface and then start running Chrome on it and GIMP or other like apps and just trying to use it with a visual interface like that. Like, I don't know if that's really a thing that people do. When I think about using Linux, usually it's for server software, and that's a complete textual interface. You know, it's just the command line. So if you're dual booting Linux in the way that industry pros may be using it, running it using text command line interface only and not using any of those visual UI things. I think that's how I use it, and probably what the other pros are thinking when they mention using Linux. You know, Linux is used to run like Apache web servers and MySQL databases, node servers, and things like that. It's not really used to run Chrome so that you can surf the internet. Unless you're being just really cheap and you don't want to pay the OS licenses for, say, Mac OS X or Windows. Software support is actually pretty bad on Linux. Like, you can't run the Adobe suite. So you don't get Photoshop, you don't get Lightroom, you don't get Premiere. And what happens is, probably over time, people who use Linux computers, I think they probably just become back-end engineers. For me, I'm actually more like a full-stack engineer. And also getting into video work, like say with YouTube, that requires like Adobe Premiere. If you didn't even have the tools for, say, photo editing, design work, or video editing, you may just never get into it. I also note that Linux may not have very good support for other things like, you know, Google Drive, Dropbox. Yeah, I think a lot of people have too much pride in using Linux because they think it's cryptic and it makes them seem like a hacker or something like that. Maybe it's simply because it's cheap and they don't want to go out and pay for actual hardware or software. I don't know. You tell me.
I actually record my screen quite a bit, and I use the software Streamlabs OBS, and apparently it hits the graphics card pretty hard when you're trying to record your screen and then manage a whole bunch of random tabs. As this must have cost $2,000 or $3,000.
Maybe it's simply because it's cheap and they don't want to go out and pay for actual hardware or software.